You're sitting in your car outside your own house. Wednesday, 7:14 a.m. Engine off. Inside your kids, your wife, your things. You can't go in. Not because the locks have been changed, though that's coming, but because 3 hours ago, you were handed a piece of paper. A stranger walked up to you outside your office, said your name, and handed you an envelope. Process server. That's his job. He has 7 more deliveries today. Inside the envelope, petition for dissolution of marriage and a temporary restraining order. Temporary. Issued before a full hearing. Based on a written allegation. You get 15 minutes to pack, with a police officer present. Welcome to Family Court. My name is Joe, and I've spent too much time studying a system most men only see from the inside when it's already too late to change anything. If you're watching this thinking, that won't happen to me, that's exactly what every one of them thought. Today, we go through every stage. In order. Level 1. The strike. The stats are simple. 69% of divorces in the US are initiated by women. You didn't file. You got hit first. A process server works like this. He waits outside your office, your gym, your car, hands you the documents, logs the time, walks away. From that second, the clock starts, and you don't even know it yet. Inside the packet, along with the divorce filing, a domestic violence allegation. You never hit anyone. Maybe there was a loud argument. Maybe there was nothing at all. Or it was one of those arguments that felt normal at the time. Raised voices. Doors closed a little harder than usual. The kind you don't even remember clearly a week later. It doesn't matter. Family court runs on more likely than not. Not beyond a reasonable doubt. This isn't criminal court. The burden of proof is different. Courts issue about 1.5 million temporary restraining orders a year. In roughly half the cases, there's no physical violence. About 85% of these orders are issued against men. A temporary restraining order can give your wife exclusive access to the home and full custody of the kids, before the court even hears your side. Attorneys call it the silver bullet. One shot at the start of the case. It changes everything. You're outside, one bag, and the legal meter is already running. Level 2. The status quo trap. Your first hearing is in 3 to 6 weeks. The judge looks at you, looks at her, hears both attorneys, then issues temporary orders, rules that stay in place until the final decision. Temporary is the most expensive illusion in American law. You get a visitation schedule. 246 is standard. Every other weekend. 1 evening a week. You see your kids maybe 10 to 20% of the time. Every other weekend. A few hours on Wednesday. You start measuring your life in handoffs and pickup times. Temporary. 90% of custody cases never go to trial. In reality, that means whatever the court sets as temporary becomes the status quo, the baseline for negotiations. And changing it is a separate battle with a separate price tag. Judges don't like changing what works. The kids adapted. The routine is stable. Why disrupt it? Your 14% just became permanent. Level 3. Exile. You rented a 1-bedroom for $1,800 a month. Half your things don't fit. You're paying $2,400 on a mortgage for a house you don't live in. You're paying your attorney $350 to $450 an hour in most major cities. And now the court can order you to pay for her attorney too. California Family Code 2030 requires the court to ensure both sides have access to legal representation. If there's an income imbalance, the higher earner pays for both. That's you, because you work. So now, mortgage on a house you're no longer allowed to live in. Rent on the place you live, your lawyer, her lawyer. The average divorce in the US costs $7,000 to $15,000. In contested cases, it multiplies fast. And your case is contested because you're not willing to give up your kids for 14%. At this point, most men think the worst part is over. It isn't. Everything up to now was just the setup. What comes next is where most of the damage actually happens, financially and legally. Level 4. Paper terror. Interrogatories. Written questions under oath. During discovery, each side has the right to demand sworn written answers about income, expenses, assets, communications, credit cards, and any other information relevant to the case. A standard set is 35 to 50 questions, plus requests for production of documents, plus requests for electronic communications. Her attorney asks for 5 years of bank statements, all emails and messages, all business expenses, all receipts, all transfers. Every message you've ever sent under stress is now evidence. That time you wrote, "I'm tired of all this," evidence of instability. The time you stayed late at work, evidence you're not involved with your kids. That time you bought something expensive, evidence of hidden income. Answering interrogatories takes your attorney 12 to 20 hours of work. Multiply by the hourly rate. Level 5. The lifestyle analysis. The court establishes the standard of living during the marriage. That's a technical term, with real consequences. You went to restaurants, traveled once a year. The kids had private activities. She had a gym membership. The court locks that lifestyle in. Now you're required to maintain it. It doesn't matter that you're now paying for 2 places. It doesn't matter that legal fees wiped out your savings. The court doesn't focus on your current situation as much as you expect. It looks at how you live together. Spousal support is calculated from that standard, and it can last for years. Only 43.5% of support obligations are paid in full. That's statistics for recipients. You're the payer. For you, there's only one number. What's in the court order, and contempt of court if you don't pay. Level 6. The 730 evaluation. You couldn't agree on custody. The judge orders a custody evaluation. In California, it's called a 730 evaluation, named after the evidence code section. A court-appointed psychologist evaluates the entire family, relationships, dynamics, to restructure custody and parental rights. Cost: $10,000 to $20,000. Split between both sides. Sometimes you pay all of it. The process: interviews with each parent, interviews with the children, home visits, psychological testing, document review. The evaluator writes a report. The judge relies on it. If there are domestic violence allegations, the evaluator must follow specific protocols under Family Code 3113. Domestic violence becomes the central issue. Remember the silver bullet from Level 1? This is where it hits the second time. The evaluator isn't the judge, but the recommendation almost always becomes the decision. Level 7. The potential trap. You change jobs. Less stress, fewer business trips, more time with your kids under the new schedule. Your salary dropped by $20,000. The court doesn't accept that. The court applies imputed income. If the court believes you're intentionally earning less or working below your capacity, it can calculate child support and spousal support based on what you're capable of earning. The court looks at your resume, your profession, the job market, and decides you could be making $140,000. So that's what you'll pay on. It doesn't matter that you earn $110,000. In many cases, it doesn't matter why you changed jobs. It doesn't matter that you wanted more time with your kids. Earning capacity isn't what you make. It's what the court says you should make. You cover the difference. Level 8. The desperation deal. Mediation is the last chance before trial. You show up at 9 a.m. Your attorney next to you. The mediator, a neutral party, in a separate office. You and your wife are in different rooms. The mediator moves between you. 1 hour, 2, 5, 10. 90% of cases settle without trial. Most of them like this. In a hallway, around 7 p.m., when everyone is exhausted. Your attorney speaks quietly. If we go to trial, we might win. But that's another $40,000 and a year and a half. The judge is unpredictable. The evaluator already gave an opinion. You sign, not because you agree, because the financial bleeding has to stop. It's called exhaustion capitulation. There's no formal legal term, but every attorney knows what it looks like. Level 9. Reset. Final order. Your 401k from 14 years of marriage. Let's say $180,000. QDRO, Qualified Domestic Relations Order, requires the plan administrator to transfer a set portion to your ex-spouse. Standard, 50% of what was earned during the marriage. $90,000 is gone. The document is prepared by a separate specialist. Costs $500 to $1,500. You pay. And here it is. Final decree of dissolution of marriage. You're 41. You have $90,000 left in retirement instead of $180,000. Legal debt, $35,000 to $60,000. Monthly obligations, child support, spousal support, shared expenses for the kids. The judge signs. Case closed. Final. The new normal. A studio apartment, about 500 square feet. An IKEA couch you assembled alone on a Sunday night. Your kids come Friday evening. Leave Sunday at 6 p.m. On schedule. Unless she texts that they're sick or there's an event, she has that right under the order. You pay the mortgage on the house she got. You pay her support. You pay off legal debt. You put something into retirement, less than before. In the US, there are 7.3 million single mothers and 1.6 million single fathers. That ratio isn't random. It's how the system works. Here's what nobody tells you at the beginning. The system isn't evil. It's built for a different scenario. One where a parent stays with the kids and needs protection. And that protection is real for those who need it. The problem is, the system has no reliable way to tell who needs it and who is using it. The gap between the man who walks out with shared custody, housing, and retirement, and the man in a studio with limited access to his kids didn't open in the courtroom. It opened the moment one of them hired a lawyer in the first 48 hours, documented everything from day one, understood what temporary orders are, and why you don't accept them as final. And the other thought, we're reasonable people. We'll figure it out.